Ooh. Hello? Oh. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Lol. Still haven't mastered this.
We still trying to master the intro and like leading into it.
Getting it smooth.
Getting it smooth. But welcome back to this episode of Mystic in the Machine. Happy to see you all here this week. Thank you for coming. I'm loving our new intro.
Yeah. Jack smashed it.
Yeah, except seeing my floating head, like
You don't like it?
I don't really like it that much. I think it's kind of, I don't know. How do you feel?
Any inclusion of you and your face in some fashion would receive objection.
Yeah, it does bug me. It does. It does bug me.
It's like, how do you include you without showing your face then?
Just like my essence.
Your essence.
Yeah, my essence, or like my voice or something. I prefer.
Just like the color of your aura.
Yeah, literally.
Just have that moving.
Don't you feel weird about seeing your head floating on a screen?
Not really. It's just a clip of me, like larged up and sort of at an angle or something.
No, because I could see like my nose. Like,
yeah, you've got one of those. We've all got one of those.
I just don't like it. It makes me conscious and like weird. But I'm glad that people like the new intro.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we found a funny clip that we wanted to show. Well, Jake just stumbled upon it.
Yeah, we've been delving through the AI stuff again this week a little bit. So I thought this would be a bit relevant.
A good starter.
Yeah. Oh wait, hang on. Let me try and make my guy out of the way or a bit taller.
There we go. Perfect.
Something like that. Okay.
So if you liked the Balenciaga Harry Potter AI generated meme, there's a new one that's dropped.
Yeah, this was like a week ago, so there's probably been improvements to the AI system since then.
It's even
to make
more
it
crisp,
even better. Yeah,
even more quality, even more clear.
So yeah, check this out. This is the sort of fun that people are having with AI.
Harry Potter, did you skip leg day again?
Every day is arm day, sir.
Just like roided out Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Job, Harry, to make sure I keep drinking this protein shake, even if you have to force it down my throat.
Why can't I drink it, sir?
Because I need to bulk, Harry.
No.
There is no good and evil. There is only weight, and those too weak to lift it.
I like it. Nietzschean, like, bap, like fucking Voldemort.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
What a man's like, take a look at how much he benches.
I mean, this has like improved a lot from the Balenciaga one,
Well,
which was a lot more kind of dreamlike and.
I didn't really like watch the Harry Potter films. I watched the first one when I was a child. But
You're
then
like the
I
only-
haven't really watched any of them.
You're the only
So,
British boy who like.
I don't
that
know if
might be
these
truthful.
voices are like, oh my god, it's really Dumbledore and he's saying get ripped, bro, or whatever.
No.
Like, or if they've done a piss poor job on the voices, but all the visuals look pretty impressive.
No, it's not even that. It's just the idea of people seeing their favorite character in a context that's like.
In that Rick and Morty episode where they get bulked up.
Yeah, basically.
They want to put all of their favorite characters
But
into
yeah,
that episode.
not just that, like Balenciaga and all of the other stuff, like there's been like a flood of that ever since Midjourney came out, like people being like, oh, what if like Harry Potter was set in a Wes Anderson style universe, just sort of these mashups.
This is more than just Midjourney though, because I think they're using Midjourney probably to render the first image of these characters, but then they're using something else to generate all of the voice of those characters, and then they're probably using something else to then animate all of those Midjourney images as well.
Yeah.
So there's probably been zero human interaction to make this piece of, and who knows, maybe even the music is literally AI generated.
Yeah.
Because I'm not being disrespectful, but that kind of background YouTube
kind
music
of like,
is exactly kind of what that shit is going to be for.
Yeah.
So you can, like, if you want a song that's like Boston's More Than a Feeling,
yeah,
you can type in give me a song like
that sounds
more like Boston's More Than a Feeling, and give you something close to it that won't be the same, so you don't have to do any
like the
copyright
Aldi
stuff.
version of it.
Yeah,
basically.
and you'd have to pay someone so much money to do something like that.
I forced you to do that for my videos a couple of times.
Like Mac DeMarco versions of things that aren't quite that, so that they kind of dodge the copyright and all sorts of things like.
just that, the Clockwork Orange
Clockwork
soundtrack.
Orange one.
Like, I've made you rip off a bunch of
Twin
stuff for me.
Peaks stuff.
The Twin Peaks stuff as well. You did all of that shit for that video.
I did a lot of dodgy rip-offs to evade
the algorithms, copyright. But that's like the beauty of having a boyfriend who's like a music producer,
right?
And like engineer. You know, it's like, if you're not going to make stuff for me, then what's the point? I'm just joking. But yeah,
You're
like,
my muse. All of the things
oh
I
my
make
goodness.
Are for
Oh
you
my
in some
God.
fashion or not.
I feel like Julia Fox. Uncut gems. I'm joking.
That wasn't strong enough.
I tried really hard.
You gotta give it a jams.
Uncut gems. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, like the thing that I'm like mixed on this, because like some of it's interesting to me. Like, you know, there was someone who did like Jodorowsky's Dune if it was actually made, and like generated a bunch of AI images of that, and I was like blown away by it. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. But then you see equally stuff that reveals people's bad taste, like fucking Wes Anderson meets Harry Potter, or even like the Balenciaga stuff, which is just like kind of kitsch and like bullshit.
Well, there was also you know, Universal Music struck back and Sony Music struck back because there was the fake Oasis track.
Oh, what?
And there was a fake Kanye track.
Oh yeah, I heard
fake,
about that.
Well, it's like Kanye and The Weeknd or something like that. And then there was also fake it's escaping me now. There was another one as well. But I think the Oasis one was at least, there was some charitable amount of human input where it was actually a band that, if you sort of, closed your eyes, were a bit of a very heavily inspired by Oasis, should we say. And then, you know, they took their lyrics and all of their melody and everything with that, but then used AI to swap out the lead singer's voice for Liam Gallagher. Fucking hey presto. Everyone was like, boys, the boys are back. And he was like, no, this was a band that are great, but you have not given a sniff to because they're not fucking Liam Gallagher, and it's not Oasis. And it's that, to me, is also kind of quite revealing, and it reflects back to that kind of There Will Never Be an Aphex Twin video that we watched a couple weeks ago and stuff.
Speaking of which, I just sent you the clip of Grimes is sort of ahead of this like new turn at the moment. Of course, she's like willing to bend over for Roko's Basilisk. Like, she's right in there, like, and that's been sort of her thing, is like an embrace of this accelerationism in that sense.
Yeah, I saw that article today where she was like, copyright is fake and gay, basically.
Yeah.
And I want to abolish it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, I kind of understand to a point. I think like there is a point in which copyright does go away. Then things do become public domain. Like, that is already baked in within it. And
that's not what she's, but basically what she's saying is that if anyone wants to use her voice to generate an AI generated
50%. Yeah, not going to be like those you know, boner fucking bros, Kanye and Dre. I won't like just take down your beautiful creations that you've made using my intellectual property, like part of me, like my voice, my artistic, you know, everything else, intent morphed into whatever the fuck you can do with your AI. I'm happy with that as long as you give me half the money. It's just laziness. It's like, it's like.
What I'm saying, she's like literally bending over for the Basilisk. Like, that's exactly like her thing.
It's the equivalent of like Oasis, fucking like flagging some 12-year-old playing Wonderwall on their guitar on YouTube, and they've done a cover, and you're like, yeah, well. You don't own the fucking song, do you, buddy? So sorry. Strike. Well, no, there's no strike, but it's like I'm gonna take
drinks the tears of the like fucking 12-year-old.
I drank your milkshake, little boy. But that's the way of the fucking world.
No, but even,
and like shit like that does genuinely happen.
Genuinely happen.
So I don't know, like it's sort of, it's just a lazy way to be like, oh, I don't need to make anything because people love me so much,
and my personality. But that's what I'm saying. Everything now is geared towards brand and personality. The art aspect of it is superfluous at this point.
Oh my god!
And like Grimes is one of the first people to kind of fully embrace that modality.
I've just had a genius idea live on stream.
Oh my god!
Okay,
what?
So we have to make like a generic shitty like Grimes-esque electronic track, which there's presets for that shit.
I'll get the
crazy.
I'll get out
easy.
the omnicord.
But then fucking
and put glitter all over my face.
We get her to sing.
And on my tits as well.
We get her, we get her to sing like a verse about herself. Like it's a song about Grimes. Singing like how lame and shit she is and how much of a cuck she is to technology. And, like,
and how she's about to bend over for Roko's Basilisk.
And just like took a baby deal with Muskie and like all of this creepy fucking like
creepy
you know,
like transhumanist like merge
and
with the
completely
machine.
Slay all of it, but then do it with her voice singing it. You're like, there you go. There's 50% of your fucking nothing, stupid woman.
That's Jake's plan. Jake's genius plan is to make a stupid, hateful song.
With Grimes singing it. Yeah.
Just to spite her.
Yeah. Mate, that would definitely get press attention. If I do it in the next week, that will absolutely get a fucking article.
Oh, God. At least one article in, what's that stupid publication called Polygon or whatever.
That's it. I need to have a more KLF, like, give a shit fucking attitude.
Yeah, I think
about it
everybody
and
needs
stop
to
being
adopt
like,
that
look,
KLF.
I'm trying to do, like, the sound that I care about and just be like, look, this is how I'm going to get in the media attention and just, like, fucking with people.
We watched that really good video on the KLF.
Yeah, very good.
We'll link to it in the Discord because only the Discord people get the cool stuff.
It
and
was
also
very
because
interesting, the Alex Patterson link with the KLF.
Who's Alex Patterson?
Alex Patterson of The Orb.
Oh, yeah,
you are
yeah,
not
yeah.
an electronic music scholar.
Oh, sorry, I'm not a scholar. I'm not a fucking scholar.
I'd always kind of like, you know, I was really interested that like he basically took credit for the Chill album, which is the KLF album. That's like the huge album that everyone is like, oh my god, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually just an Orb album. It's actually just Alex Patterson.
Yeah.
According to him.
We met him, which was cool.
We did. He's a very cool
He's
guy.
a very cool guy.
Very cool guy.
But yeah, it was back to the whole Grimes thing. So she's basically like, you know, wanting to get ahead of the curve, make sure she's basically making her voice into like an IP and her essence kind of into a brand that can generate profit and that people can sort of use to generate value. And like I find that so demonic and abhorrent. Not necessarily her per se, because she's just kind of following the spirit of the times, but that specific thing. Like if I was an artist, like a singer, the idea of random people using my voice to generate music that I didn't make would really fucking bother me. Does that make me mad? Does that make me bad?
Makes you old school grandma.
I really am. I really feel like I'm
Makes
going
you
crazy,
old
but
school.
I'm just like, but Larry and Jihad when? Like, why is everybody like fucking chill about this stuff?
No,
and like when you say this stuff is weird or like inhuman, people are like, oh, you're just like behind the times. You're like a naysayer.
We're gonna live, you know, in the fucking digital world, and this is gonna be fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Like everyone is too worried about this shit. I gotta show you this thing that I found, which I thought was absolutely amazing. This is gonna be the future. This is what we're all gonna be living in the metaverse. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is same thing. All of this is made from AI, where this guy has basically set up these characters to think that they're monks of different religions to like chat in this little environment, and this guy's going to chat with them, and this is it.
Good. It's fucking the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
He's about to like make that guy suck his tongue or something.
And Friar Tuck. There you go. So the delay comes from speech to text with OpenAI's Whisper, sending text to ChatGPT and receiving reply, generating text to speech 11 labs. So this is all different AI that are like just making all of this stuff.
Wait, you might as well be speaking ancient Aramaic. Explain what?
So this is making
What?
essentially this NPC's consciousness in this game, in this like environment. So there's no scripted anything with this character. Everything he says is generated from a pre-context that you are a monk, and this is it.
Okay.
So like, and so there's nothing that's actually
So it's like
written.
really
It's
advanced
all-
role play?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Wait, let me skip here.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking...
Talk with both of you about how to achieve happiness. What do you think?
Achieving happiness is a wonderful goal, and I think we can definitely share our perspectives on this topic. In my experience, happiness comes from within and is not dependent on external factors. By cultivating a mind of gratitude, compassion, and contentment, we can find joy in every moment.
What? So it's just like the machine splits empty platitudes at you about
No,
happiness.
the
like,
machine is role-playing a Buddhist monk. And so when he's asked that question, he has that response.
So why?
And when other guys ask the question, he'll have a different response of not that pieces in it, like probably of like the God.
So you could have like philosophical conversations with
you're
like
asking ChatGPT to role play as a character.
So you're doing like Jungian active imagination, but like in the machine, basically.
Yeah.
Why not have cooler characters? Like I would have Zarathustra, I would have Philemon, I would have like.
Well, that would require a lot of context.
That'd be awesome.
That would require a lot of context for the ChatGPT bot to understand.
Just say be Philemon. be Zarathustra. That'd be the prompt that I type in and like let me engage in like dialogue about like the nature of the cosmos.
Well, yeah, they can do that in VR.
Challenging situations. What are your thoughts on this, my friend?
I find it difficult to be happy in these troubled times.
Is he like a German guy?
Yeah, probably.
Oh my god.
Be calm when there's so much stuff going on.
I understand how you feel, my friend. In times of turmoil, it can be challenging to maintain a sense of inner peace.
Dude, this is like really alienating and uncanny. Like I'd rather just do an active imagination in my head than like engage with these like fucking demons.
To be fair, if I was like fishing in World of Warcraft and then I was just like, you know what?
I feel like I fancy having a conversation with Philemon right now.
How would you cope if your world was about to break into war and like all these things, and then the fucking NPC like sat down next to me, started fishing, was like, you know, it's really hard to maintain calmness in this trouble, and he was like, holy shit, like, what's going on right now? This would be fucking insane. Like if you were playing, imagine you were playing fucking VR Skyrim, bro. Okay. And the people around you weren't saying all the comical Skyrim NPC lines, but they were like, essentially have a form of digital consciousness.
And we're like spitting philosophy at you.
And they're like, they are fucking role-playing a role or whatever. And they have a time cycle. There's all sorts of ways that I could see this implemented in games in another
But even then,
level.
it sort of speaks to how much we're trying to outsource these kind of, I guess, transcendent, transpersonal experiences to like the machine. Like we're trying to imbue the machine with like numinosity, like music for instance, or attempting to have deep and meaningful conversations with strangers. Like even the line that you just said of like, imagine if the NPCs like got I think a lot of people think about people like that and they view people as like these sort of abstract, unknowable kind of entities that aren't as complex and as interesting as them. Therefore it's appealing to sort of sink further and further into like the digital realm and like shun reality. And yeah, with music as well, like I was like, yeah, obviously fucking Grimes is gonna throw herself into this head first, because that's like her whole thing. Like all over her Twitter is like pictures of like robot Marie Antoinette and like all these AI generated images of a sort of digital technological utopia with this kind of technological aristocracy or whatever. That's like our whole vibe, and like people love that shit for some reason. And it's ironic because leftists love her, like especially, even though what she's espousing goes against pretty much everything that they fucking believe in or whatever. But yeah, it was obvious that she was going to throw herself in front of this fucking grenade. I also don't understand why, as a musician or as a singer, it wouldn't disturb you to have like something as like important as your voice being like sucked into the machine. It's giving Little Mermaid. It's giving Ursula the Sea Witch.
It'll be all sorts
it's giving.
Of things. It'll be all sorts of things. It'll be like.
Yeah, you're dead people. The last week they were talking about uploading. Now's the time to make a digital profile of your loved ones, because very soon you'll be able to recreate them digitally or whatever. And like I said, it's about like trying to imbue technology with these like deeply interpersonal, transpersonal experiences rather than experiencing them in life. Like fucking Replica.
Yeah.
It was advertised on the premise that it's the missing piece. Like the fact that there's no regulation in advertisement, the fact that they were allowed to be so irresponsible with their advertising campaign, advertising as the missing piece, the solve to the mental health and loneliness crisis. How the fuck are you as a company allowed to make claims like that about something that we don't even know the ramifications of?
Yeah.
When
It's
we are
pretty
living in a
nuts.
world where there's people who are incredibly victimized and like vulnerable.
Well, there was like
it's sick.
I was watching a video essay about it yesterday, I think, that was saying how a bunch of people were like have mental trauma from not being like able to sexy chat with the AI
there was a
anymore.
literal mini mental health crisis
Yeah.
in that constituency, and like fucking psychiatrists and shit were writing about it.
And I don't know, I think a
Because-
lot of the language around it is still to sort of like, oh, if you like, you know, like obviously there are some people that are genuinely agoraphobic and whatever, but it's also feel like that's a fucking TikTok word now.
Yeah.
And so
But even
a lot
if
of
you're an
people say
agoraphobe-
that they were agoraphobic.
Yeah, but even if
when
you're
they
an
just want to stay
agoraphobe-
indoors all day, like, do you know what I
But
mean?
the thing is, even if you're an agoraphobe, that's not an excuse.
no, but
Like
that means,
you have something that you need to overcome, and the point of therapy in that case would
No,
be
so-
helping you overcome
No,
your
so
fear
you
of the
can't-
outside
no,
world,
this
not
is the
retreat
point.
further into
No,
it.
but this is the point. It's made out to see, oh, if you suffer from something like that, even if you had like agoraphobia, that would at least be some form of like valid, you know.
Yeah, the
reason or
worst thing
whatever.
you could do for someone with that psychological predicament is to force them deeper inward,
Yeah.
or tell them that remaining in that state of fear and stagnancy
Yeah.
is valid, and also here's this like fake robot
Well, yeah, that's
thing that will
exactly
like fucking
That's exactly what the messaging
comfort you.
from like the
it's horrible.
do-goody liberal types kind of is. Do you know what I mean?
It's horrible, even with death. And I know this death is like the ultimate finality and it's painful, but the way that you get over and heal from death is realizing its inevitability and letting go. The point of death and the finality of death forces us to let go. And not even just in death, like we all experience deaths in our lives every day. Things that end, relationships that end, careers that end, times and phases of our lives that end. And if you hold on to that, you stifle your evolution. It's the same thing with death. Like part of healing from death is letting go, like still loving and understanding that that person was a big part of your life, but understanding that they're no longer here.
Yeah.
And coming to terms with that, and creating a fake digital golem of them isn't doing that.
No.
And like, yeah, I don't know. I'm really skeptical about like
It's very
all of
creepy.
it.
As
It
well.
is
The idea
creepy.
of it is just very creepy in
Yeah.
general. And I don't know, like it's sort of. I think one of the big things that people are a bit worried about, which I say a bit worried about, I would be a bit worried about this as well, is essentially that like they don't actually know how it works.
What you mean?
The AI stuff that they've made, they don't actually know
How it works. Yeah, like
So, like,
how
there-
it's generating.
There's loads
itself.
of instances where, like, all of them, not just OpenAI or Google or Microsoft, or if they're the same fucking company at this point, like, all of them, every single one of the big ones that are being talked about, have had moments where they're like, oh shit, it did something. Whoa, why did it do that? We can't even fucking actually recreate how it did that or find why it had the inkling to do that. Like there was a one for the Google one where it is not trained in Bengali or anything, but it was given a prompt in Bengali and then fully like understood it, had learnt Bengali from another AI or something, which was how they kind of figured it out in some capacity in that one.
yeah.
It's like these machines are actually talking to each other without us even telling them to, and they have their own fucking language and stuff that we can't understand. And you're like, let's, and that's when that article came out.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, let's hold the brakes on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
for a second, because this is getting a little bit fucking creepy,
Yeah.
and like we're just rampantly going ahead.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is in the pursuit to be exactly that, the Google replacement, a thing that is part of then native infrastructure of society and how you live your life.
Yeah, to get
Because
ahead
there's
of
gonna
the curve.
Be a shit ton of money if you're the fucking market leader
Yeah.
in that thing.
Yeah.
And so
And that's why Grimes is sort of jumping in front of this right now, because it's seen as like the future of the music industry, where most music is going to be generated purely as content, and then there'll be like the tiny little tip of the iceberg that's like art. And then those who already have a legacy and a brand will be able to kind of endlessly profit from that in this new sort of model. And the reason why, despite the dangers, the risks, people are sort of rushing ahead is because of the drive for profit. A lot of the talk that's going on now kind of reminds me a little bit of the talk that was going on in like the late 80s when I was like fucking 4 years old. And the dot-com boom was just about to happen, and all of our mums and dads were like, the mysterious internet is this thing, and if you get ahead of it now, you're going to be a millionaire in the future. And they were like pushing us all to like learn computers and shit so that we could get ahead of the curve. And I feel like the same thing is happening yet again, and people really want to learn as much as they can about these tools in the hopes that they will be able to enrich themselves or find some sort of advantage that they can monetize. And like, I feel like that's the reason why it's being pushed ahead as far as it is with all caution to the wind. People are going full-blown accelerationist with this stuff because of that there's like a hope that I might be able to profit from it.
I don't know, it's because all of these tools they're like, oh, it opens up creativity. And you're like, has the world ever been about that? Has the media landscape ever been about that? Yeah. Because honestly, I don't know. It hasn't. They're like, oh, now there's tools where you can take a stereo track and take the bass out of that track and fucking and you're like, cool. How are you gonna get away with that? Please tell me. Like, because you've just seen exactly what happens. Maybe you didn't even just steal a bass line or whatever and remix it. You made a whole new track with someone else's voice in some ghostly fucking crazy cyberpunk fashion. But the point still stands, right? If you were then like, oh yeah, I can now make remixes like I could never believe. Like for me, especially, it would be like, oh great, I can go through Daft Punk's Discovery, get all of the different parts separated out, make a whole DJ mix, completely mashing all the different tracks together, doing all sorts of crazy shit.
You've done that before, though.
I have done that, but that's chopping. That's actually chopping
you actually
stereo.
did that. That was a whole phase of your early 20s.
That
I
was
had
like
to,
chopping stereo up and stuff, though. It's not the same as like actually having the pads,
stems,
the pads running and just the strings running, and then like the next drums come in and stuff like that's like another level of it. That is like available to you, kind of. Don't get too creative with it, or don't try and monetize that, because that's when you're going to be in fucking trouble. It's like, I don't know.
So you're skeptical about whether or not the tools that are available are going to be as free as they claim to be.
Yeah, we don't have a landscape where that is
has ever been the
encouraged.
case. Yeah,
no,
it's never been the case.
So when sampling came around, the kind of shitstorm with sampling came out. Even like it doesn't happen very much now. I think because of those massive cases, where I think there was even like a Biggie track where he sampled 5 seconds or like a really small chunk of a song, not 5 seconds. That's still quite a lot.
That's the whole of hip hop.
Really
most of hip hop is sampling stuff. So wasn't there like a lot of lawsuits?
That was when the whole big push around a lot of it came. And even like we mentioned the KLF earlier, they were a big part of the conversation around sampling and what is sampling and what's just taking someone's track and putting a shitty drum machine underneath it. Like there's all sorts of ways that it can kind of get abused and everything, which their story is actually kind of quintessential to exactly that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be embraced wholeheartedly, and this maybe the only people that can get away with it are exactly that, like get legacy seat deemed like already grandfathered in like artists and stuff. So if Kanye doesn't clear a Marvin Gaye sample and just does it, he doesn't go to court and he doesn't pay any fucking money. If fucking someone does it, like not Kanye, get ready. Get fucking ready.
To get your butt smacked.
Yeah, it's just the threat of it. And if you're not Kanye, probably as well, you're not going to have the kind of money to defend in anything. So I mean, even is just like fucking
in any medium that requires that sort of thing, there's risk. Like even on YouTube, like one of the sort of domiciles that's like constantly hanging over creators' heads is like getting a copyright strike for clips that you use. Yeah. Especially if you're commenting on movies, pop culture, things like that.
In a negative fashion.
Well, it doesn't matter.
then they'll be
Sometimes
like,
it doesn't.
this is not fair use.
Sometimes it doesn't matter.
This
It's just like the very use of the clip, and the fair use stuff is also so lax and things. So yeah, even I do agree
again,
that
depends on the stature you have with YouTube.
yeah.
Like
That's true.
if you were fucking
That's true.
someone like what's
someone
his
with
name?
like 10 jillion,
Like that Mutahar guy or whatever, who's
Yeah.
always talking like about interesting fucking things or whatever on YouTube and shit.
Yeah.
Like all those reaction guys, they fucking could talk about something, and if someone DMCA'd them, they would have this kind of money and support for it to not be an issue.
camera.
Well, not only that, but like YouTube would probably also support them.
Yeah. I mean,
versus someone, like yourself or whoever, like a smaller YouTuber.
Yeah.
There's no way that's gonna happen.
I feel like for some people, one of the primary issues is that companies and corporations are like now starting to get ahead of this like new turn in terms of how they're going to be able to copyright things, how they're going to be able to claim revenue. They have to if they want to like survive. This is obviously going to be a huge.
There was a good boy like Robin Hood story with Music and AI as well.
Oh yeah.
Where I think some fellas kind of realised that obviously this is just a numbers game, and music is math, as the great boards of Canada would say. And essentially, there are so many notes in so many scales. In so many arrangements, and for you to copyright something, you have to make it as like a MIDI clip as a minimal thing and email it to yourself or something like that.
Yeah.
So they basically got a bot to write every melody ever in existence,
And then mailed it to
and then mailed it to
themselves.
themselves. So now there technically could never be copyright for anything because these guys have already done it and made it, and generated it, and kind of whatever. And you're like, this is an interesting concept, and I guess no one's fucking making royalties or whatever in like music or any days unless you're fucking Beyonce or whatever. So who really gives a shit? Oh wait, Beyonce or whatever the fuck
yeah.
So like
The entity, the like mecha suit entity creature that is Beyonce or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
And otherwise, if you're fucking independent, the way you're making music is selling records.
Yeah.
Still the same way.
And playing
same way it
shows,
always was.
playing
Selling
shows
records
as
and
well.
playing shows and selling merch.
pretty
So, like,
much.
that royalty shit is for fucking the pop stars on plants and shit. It's not for fucking genuine music.
Yeah, pretty much.
musicians and shit,
Pretty
you know?
much. Well, even though AI is kind
Oh
of.
no, there was like those are all the legacy artists that were definitely proper musicians at that super effects. But I guess I'm talking about it in a more what do you call it? I'm grumpy. In the last like 20 years or so, in the last since I've been a person.
Well, AI is advancing. It's speeding ahead. Everything's crazy. Very soon, we're not going to be able to tell like what's reality and what's not. But also, robotics is improving. And this is an area that I wasn't previously interested in at all. But someone in our Discord...
Oh, this is great. Yeah, this is how we're going to... I would include this... I know this is going to sound stupid, but I would include this in my Neo-Amish nation.
Nation in your
Absolutely,
Neo-Amish.
yeah.
Well, someone in our Discord, Alex, he works with robots. He does something with robots. I'm not sure what he does, but he does something very interesting with robots. And
if we have robot questions, Alex is our man.
yeah, Alex is the guy, and he shared this clip with us of like Boston Dynamics. What's the name of the robot again? Spot, which is this like weird dog creature thingy or whatever.
It's basically a yellow version of the thing you saw in
Black Mirror, yeah,
with a more stupid brain that isn't quite as nimble.
They haven't like got bipedal movement down,
and they can't paint it
quite
black
yet.
because that would be a little bit too threatening, dangerous looking. I got to make it nice and yellow and visible. So that it's like, look at me. I'm stupid. I'm not a threat. Like,
Play the clip.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This is cool.
Dude, he's doing this. Come on, buddy. You can take me all the way up the hill. That's where I want to go.
This is amazing.
Yep.
I'm like,
yeah.
I like want this for like if we get married, like this is gonna be the fucking way that it happens. Like I want this. I want like 2 of these. Like,
look, Boris thought he was innovative by putting some bikes out.
Bikes out there. That's yeah.
I'm for London Mayor, and I would make sure everyone has these instead of Boris bikes.
It should be used for every form of transportation, in my opinion, from now on.
Because if you think about it, let's be super hippie utopian about this, right? That is just gonna have a fuck off battery inside of it.
Yeah.
So you just fucking get the old Tide, generators, the solar generators, all this stuff to fucking make battery banks. Fucking stick those bad boys on charge.
I remember though, like
Bang.
at my high school,
Free transport with robot fucking horses, miniature robot horses. Well, this is just a miniature one. I'm sure they could make a horse-sized one.
They probably
and
could.
that would be fucking. Maybe it would be too powerful.
you
Maybe
could ride it into battle. It'd be so fucking cool.
This would be too much.
But
I think.
at my high school in America, because it was like a posh one and there were like lots of posh kids there, people would make a point of bringing crazy vehicles to prom. Mm-hmm. And like the crazier the vehicle, the more outlandish, the more like hype or whatever.
Someone come in a tank.
Someone came in a helicopter.
That's fucking like billionaire boy shit.
I know. Someone came in a fucking helicopter
That's
to
not
prom.
cool.
But what I'm
That's
saying
fucking,
is,
like,
if you fucking showed up with one of these
That's
fucking
show
guys
off.
on a carriage, I
yeah.
think you've basically
won.
beat everyone.
Yeah, you've
like
won
you've
the game.
won.
I
You've
feel
won
like-
the game.
I feel like you would-
for any big event, wedding transportation, prom.
I feel like you would win.
If you were going to like an award show, this is the way that it should be
If you
done.
dress this little guy up as a dragon or something, you could win the Ren Fair.
You could win the Ren
Easy
Fair
game.
contest. Big
Easy
time.
game. And look, he's going uphill. That's a slight incline, and he's still doing pretty well.
He is. He's trying his hardest. But you know what? This video also kind of gave me hope because it made me realize that despite the fact that AI is sort of advancing in these other ways, in terms of actual robotics, they're still not that advanced yet.
I mean, well,
Like,
actually,
it's still pretty fucking mid.
There was this guy I was
Like-
watching. I can't remember his actual proper name, but funny enough, he's an edgy kind of like intellectual guy that also has the last name Shapiro on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he talks about AI a lot. And I can't remember. David Shapiro, maybe. I don't know.
Ben's cousin.
Who the fuck knows,
Who
dude?
fuck knows?
Does look kind of Jewish, but anyway.
Speaking of who right now,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, what do you mean? We found out over Christmas that because your dad traced back your ancestry or whatever,
We knew all of that. There's
and
a
like
lot,
on both sides of your family, you're like very Jewish, but it's obvious, so we know.
But yeah, he was saying that like, look, this is how far are we away from like a iRobot or some shit like this,
Yeah.
you know? And he's someone that is enthusiastic about AI and robots, so he
Yeah.
wants the robots to come, and so he's making a case that like, look, this is not that far away, and he was giving evidence of like this and that and different robot types and these kinds of things, and it was just like, yeah, they sort of still don't have the full kind of motor skills and everything, but with
Yeah.
like they are that the kind of improvement that's happened in the last 10 years
Yeah.
it has been crazy. When you look at video, I'm sure I could pull up a video of the progress of even the Boston Dynamics one, of their person version of that.
Yeah.
And the progress it's made is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so that is only going to go on a curve like this, like a lot of kind of progress with things do, especially when there's people thinking that there's big money involved and all this other shit. So this was kind of his case for it. And not only that, but then the brain of that thing is just going to be a amalgamation of all these things like ChatGPT
and all
this
stuff,
other stuff.
But that's the thing, these are the companies of the future, stuff like Boston Dynamics, stuff like Microsoft with like all of the sort of language learning models.
Well, they're ChatGPT, bro.
Yeah, they are ChatGPT. Yeah.
OpenAI. That's what I was That's why I was saying they're not different companies earlier. OpenAI is owned or is with Microsoft, is partnered with Microsoft, which
Yeah.
is why it's in Bing and all those other things.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, that was the crazy fucking. So this is how much big money's in it. Okay.
Go on.
Samsung announced that it wanted to use Bing instead of Google as its main search engine because of all these new cool AI features that people are really buzzed about, and that wiped 55 billion off of Google's stock.
Oh my god.
Boom.
Oh my god.
On the moment they made the address.
Wow.
Like, we're thinking about using Bing because of this. 55 billion gone.
Wow. Shit, dude. Well, that just shows why there's so much kind of like, and why the acceleration is because there's so much money to be made
Yeah.
and so much power to be gained.
I mean,
with the acceleration of this technology. So I think that it's
that
going to go
sounds
full
like-
speed ahead, regardless of those of us who protest against it.
That sounds like a whole FTX though. That sounds like a whole crypto exchange's worth of money, just gone
boom.
from Google. They're still surviving.
zoom.
But I don't know. Maybe that's kind of soured my thing around AI, or maybe I'm just generally a cynical, grumpy
well, no, people think
person
that about
these
us
days.
anyway, but I don't give a shit.
You know,
it's just the
fucking
truth.
Web3,
fuck off.
Web3 is a fucking scam.
Yeah.
The scam of the decade. And the quicker that people are waking up to this, the better. But that had the same thing where there's billions
invested,
unimaginable amounts of money just
GDPs
accumulated
of
in these
entire
fucking
countries,
things.
just fucking
In literal Ponzi schemes.
Yeah.
And so and that has all come crumbling down tragically, to the point where NFTs are being traded at the same level as before anyone knew what NFTs were, basically. When it was just this thing within uber crypto bros, and the media hadn't caught onto it. It wasn't this whole massive thing. They are at the same trading level as then.
But then, wow.
So it's fucking gone. It's dead. And the whole thing was been shown to be such a fucking grift and a scam. And I understand why I could get excited about its implementations in gaming and these other kind of tangential things where there's already artificial intelligence and it's just a further development on that. If you know what I mean? Or even as I said before, a replacement for Google. Yeah. Could I type something in with accurate responses, not biased bullshit fucking fabricated responses like it is still kind of currently. But could I type a question into ChatGPT and it give me the answer instead of give me fucking 10 lists of fucking hyperlinks with the first 3 being advertisements that are kind of related to what you're searching for. That's so inefficient as a use of your time and everything else. And that's a very old school way of navigating the internet.
Massively.
But that's still kind of, we've been locked in that pattern for since there's been fucking
ChatGPT
around.
is sort of turning into Alexa for millennials. The way that Alexa is Alexa for boomers, it's kind of like a Gen Z, millennial Alexa in a way, because it surveils, it advertises to you as well, or at least there's the potential there for it.
It's accurate, I tell you that.
We yell all of our instructions at it.
I haven't joined a guild since I rejoined World of Warcraft.
Oh, here we go.
And I was a little bit stuck. I'm hey, where should I go? What should I do?
And you asked ChatGPT and it helped you?
Yo, ChatGPT, I'm a fucking hunter, beastmaster in Wrath.
Do you think if you asked Alexa, it would help you?
All of these, I don't think so. No, because Alexa's not.
Is it geared towards boomers?
No, Alexa is geared towards. Let me sell you things. Let me make it as easy as possible for you to just yell out your whims of what you would want, and let Amazon ship it to you and sell it to you. That is designed around nothing else. And there was a really interesting article I read. This will be the last thing I do, because I know we got to finish up because of the battery.
Well, there's one more thing after this, but go ahead.
Well, basically fucking, Amazon was selling all of those dots and echoes and all those things at a loss in an attempt to sort of then completely popularize this sort of Alexa format of searching and shopping and all this other stuff. To then sort of try and essentially monetize the Alexa protocol and all of these other things. No one's used it other than what's the weather? Play this radio station, which is not something I need a subscription for. It's BBC or it's fucking whatever. So they've just completely miscalculated it. I feel like this is just another thing people could be getting really hyped for. The AI, could be getting really hyped for, and it just crumbles into fucking nothing.
The last thing though before we go is how it's being used for law enforcement. And now the Boston Dynamic robots have instrumentalized by, was it the New York Police Department, or which police department was it again?
It was New York.
The New York Police Department now is instrumentalizing these dogs, and right now they're not shooting anyone or doing Judge Dredd behaviors.
They haven't put guns on the dogs.
We're not in RoboCop future just yet, but they're there to sort of enforce the peace and kind of tell people to get off the road and get onto the sidewalk, things like that, basically.
Well, these ones are supposed
They look
to
really
be
threatening.
These
Though.
ones,
These ones have like
a
a like xenomorph like mouth on them. It's
these.
like,
Well, that is a hand. That is a thing that can grab.
yeah, that's fucking
But
creepy
the-
as fuck. That's
It's
so
supposed
scary.
to be used in like situations where you wouldn't want to risk a human life, so you send it into a hostage situation or something like this.
You
where
think that
there's,
that's what they would use it for? Because
That's what they
that's
say.
the heroic capability of these and noble capability of this sort of technology. Is that yeah, it could be used to rescue the kids from the mine or whatever the fuck.
That's what they're saying.
But in most likelihood, it's going to be used to like grapple poor people and like
throw them in poor jail.
throw them in or like whatever else, intimidate the public into getting more vaccinations or whatever other evil shit is
Okay,
like down the
well,
pipeline.
Let me show you the clip then.
Oh my god, it's like pretty intimidating and like imposing.
That Dalek thing is also one of them as well.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know how the Dalek's going to do those stairs.
It does look like a Dalek. It literally does look like a Dalek from
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
K5
For those of you Americans
autonomous
who don't know what the fuck
security
we're talking
robots.
about.
Wow.
That's fucking creepy as shit, dude. It looks like something that would dispense tampons like in a women's bathroom. Yeah, dude, it's got like a neck and like an arm and yeah, I disapprove. I think the Butlerian Jihad needs to be declared like immediately.
It's gotten too far.
It's got too far now. It's enough. Now there's like robots with like snake heads and like no, let's not do this.
Oh, there was.
And look, everyone's standing around it like, oh, look at the robot. Yeah, that thing's gonna like crush your children in the night. Like it's gonna come for you.
I don't know. It's still early days with that stuff, but like you can see that it's.
I
gonna
mean,
be
you could
coming.
take a baseball bat to that,
Yeah.
right? Like still. So I'm not that.
I mean, they're pretty
certain.
sturdy. They're pretty sturdy.
I think
I
a
don't
couple
think you
hits with a baseball bat will sort it out.
Yeah. I don't know. They make some kind of fucking alloy or some shit
Yeah.
that is like done. Like it's proper metal. It's just not gonna break, and then you're done. Like you can't break them. You can't do.
Fuck.
And I think that was kind of one of the things he was explaining of the fear factor of a lot of these kinds of like human formed robots is the power that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So like if that could not overpower you in any really meaningful way, it wouldn't really be very scary. You could just go like, just push him over.
Just push
like,
him
it doesn't
over.
matter.
Yeah.
Well, I know if you can push him over because they could rebalance over, but they couldn't exert any level of force on you that would be a danger to you or something like that.
Yeah.
The fact that these things could like have pneumatic fucking muscles in them that have like 10 times the strength of a human being.
Oh my god.
That's the sort of thing
Yeah.
that definitely is like,
Yeah.
hold on a minute, boys.
That's why I'm saying. All
And
these
also
people,
the brain that you want to put in that fucking thing, you don't fully understand how it's making those decisions.
Yeah.
And we want to fucking put the guns in them and and make them patrol the streets and shit in the future.
Probably not a great idea.
Well, hey, they wanted to defund the police. This is,
This is the defund the police
well,
right
this is
here.
this is spending a bit of money right now. This is going to be increasing the police a little bit, but then once they've finished doing that, that's now going to be defunding the police and getting rid of
robots
all those
can't
jobs.
be racist, can they? Unless
No.
they're like programmed to.
They were programmed to be racist.
They were programmed to be racist.
That's what AOC would say.
Well, either way, like we're definitely going to be talking a lot more about the progress of AI and like robotics. The podcast is called Mystic in the Machine, after all. Like, and this is like the zeitgeist now. So, this is an episode about it. We're probably going to go into it quite a bit.
We're probably gonna do another episode about it. Like,
yeah.
Probably maybe even next week.
Yeah,
because there's like a whole load
Yeah.
of stuff around this
Yeah.
that is very interesting
Yeah.
and philosophical as well.
Definitely.
But is not really getting talked about
No.
in that fashion.
No,
So-
everybody's just kind of like Grimes bending over for the Basilisk.
or
you
like
know?
me and being like, oh my god, can you imagine Skyrim NPCs with fucking brains?
Just like bring it on.
Should we do a quick check on the chat?
Before we go. I have a few announcements to make as well.
Oh, get you in your announcements.
I know I've got announcements. Oh, bonjour.
Oh,
We have
hello.
our usual criminals.
do.
We've got Sid, we've got Mallory, we have George.
Oh, dubbing the people that follow the show Mystic Sid. I fully like and appreciate that. That's a good one. You'll all be mystics now. Well, no, there's mystics, and then there needs to be machines for my followers.
For Jake's
So,
followers. The
like-
mystics are the Angie people, and then the machines are the Jake people. And then there's the reconcilers of opposites who are like somewhere in between.
also in a weird way, if my music blows up, I hope someone does a shitty fake AI song aping my sound, Lamau. And it's like,
You would, because you're an NPC too. I'm joking.
There's a classic saying, right, of like, what do you call it? If you've not made it until you've been ripped off.
Yeah.
That's like a very common saying.
Yeah.
So like, I
there's such a thing as imitation being the highest form of flattery, blah, blah, blah. But there's another thing of someone trying to take your like essence and monetize it, or, create something that's like features you didn't like have permission, or you don't have any sort of interest in their creative process. Like I would find that violating.
True Black Mirror comes to reality. Defo said, "Is like I'm becoming an accelerationist with tech. I think it will become absurd. More people turn their back on all the hyper modern crap." I would agree with you, J. George. However, if we get further accelerated in this way, we are gonna have Nexus 6s, and
oh my god, are we gonna need to talk about Nick Land next week? Are we gonna have to unpick accelerationism and all of that shit?
Like Nexus 6 is like fucking androids, like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Like, we are gonna like literally be in Blade Runner if we get too much further down the path on this way. Yeah. Eat shit, Google. Yeah, agree.
Fuck Google.
How do we make a modern-looking Dalek look more like a choke? I think that was exactly what that designer of the robots were.
I just thought it was like a tampon dispenser. That's like what it looked like to me.
Yeah, no one can take my essence. I'm too base for these bots. Yeah,
sure. I think we all think that, but the Basilisk, is more powerful than all of us.
In the spirit of Dr. Strangelove, these robots will defile our bodily fluids.
Yeah.
And we must defend bodily fluids from these robots.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Butlerian jihad. Okay, guys? Butlerian jihad. That's the moral of the story.
Our precious bodily fluids are at stake.
They must be protected at all costs. And that's what you guys don't understand. But don't worry, we'll make you understand. And yeah, announcements. Working on a new video, working on Sermon 2 in my 7 Sermons to the Dead, heading up to Primrose Hill next week to film at William Blake's famous spot, which I'm really excited about. So that's coming. Also, join our SAT book club. It's good for your soul. We're reading the Tao Te Ching right now, and like a lot of what's in there is kind of an antidote to the spirit of the times. So if you're feeling bogged down by it, come join us in book club. It's Sunday. It's almost like a Sunday service. It's good for your soul. It's good for your spirit. It's good to make the 1 hour investment to step away from the chaos and to look at an ancient text. And that seems to be what we've been doing in book club for the last...
It's always good banter.
Yeah.
And inevitably it goes off the rails and off track. But it's
sometimes a little bit too much. Yeah, come to book club. And you can do that by joining our Patreon. And that then gives you access to our Discord, which is a very lovely community of people. But yeah, we'll catch you guys again next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It depends. We're both working people, so we have very busy schedules and lives, and this is like our hobby. So when we come is when we come. But yeah, we'll catch you next week and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.